What's going on, folks? You're watching The Hungry Handgunner. I'm Nick, and I wanted to talk about gun control again. So, who really loses with the gun control? And we're going to I know there's been several different proposed measures and things like that. We're going to pick apart several of them. But who really loses? Well, for starters, freedom loses, number one. And it doesn't get any better from there. So, I think across the board, whether you lean far left or far right, you can find something that government has done in your lifetime alone that has pissed you off, that you think is not right, that you think should not have happened. Now, with that being said, if this is how government behaves while its citizens are armed, and very well armed, I might add, I think we have the highest rate of gun ownership in the world. Not definitely the highest number of guns owned in civilian hands in the world. I think we do have the highest rate of private gun ownership. So the most well-armed population in the world, and the government still acts the way it does. If we were not armed, if we did not have teeth to our ability to, kind of control our representatives as a final failsafe, I want you to ask yourself, what else do you think they might have done? The other thing is, there's an old saying, and I cannot remember who the quote's attributed to. You have the soapbox, where you can stand up and talk and make your point known. You've got the ballot box, where you can vote and try to get your principles and values represented. And finally, you have the cartridge box. So this kind of plays into that. We can get on Facebook or stand on a street corner and make a sign or yell or whatever, or just talk to people, period. Get on TV. That's all soapbox stuff. Finally, with your elections, you have your ballot box stuff. You can get up there and vote for who you feel is going to best represent you and the issues that you hold near and dear. But at some point, when the soapboxes are silenced and the ballot boxes don't count for shit anymore, because people say one thing to get your vote and go up there and do something completely different, or they just quit holding elections altogether, you want to have that third option there. And I'm not saying it's time to rise up or anything like that right now. I will never counsel y'all to a specific course of action like that. But we need to retain that right. So, freedom in its entirety will lose with a lot of these gun control proposed measures. The other thing that loses is people like me. I've got wife and kids. Go about my day just like 99% of other people. I work, I come home, I do the dad thing, the husband thing, keep the bills paid. I also shoot and train to defend my family. So with a lot of these proposed measures, there's magazine bans on things that hold more than 10 rounds, and just outright banning of semi-autos sometimes. And of course, the AR-15 is always a very desirable target for the gun control crowd. All of those things are things that I have in my defensive lineup. I do have an AR-15. I do have, most of my guns hold more than 10 rounds, especially my defensive firearms. My concealed carry gun holds 16 rounds. And I am a fan of semi-automatics. So if you take that away, can I learn to use a revolver? Sure, I can. But you're putting me at an unfair advantage when Billy Bob the crackhead or Timmy the meth head and his buddies decide to come kick in my door one night. And they saw the law, they knew the law, but if they were really concerned about the law, do you think that they would be kicking in my door? No. They're not concerned with the laws. They're not concerned with following the laws. So that high capacity semi-automatic that they have that they're now shooting at me with, and I'm trying to defend myself with a revolver, that's not really a good situation to be in, especially if it's more than one person. It's putting me at the disadvantage. Putting you at the disadvantage. As a law-abiding, everyday guy, you are now at the mercy of the criminals, or at a significant disadvantage, because they're going to do what they always do. Words on paper do not dictate human actions for the most part, except for those that are actually reading the words on paper and they have decided to follow that. So if you're going to break into people's houses and hurt people and things like that, the words of some politicians typed up on a piece of paper and enforceable by the law are not magically going to change your mind. If you're that type of person, you're going to do that sort of thing. So it hurts the everyday person as well. Last point I want to make and leave you guys with is a lot of gun control measures that I've seen proposed have added requirements tacked onto them. You have to take this class, you have to pay this amount of money to have registration, or these special permits or special background checks that entail spending more money. You have to maintain insurance. All of these things are going to make firearms ownership more prohibitive and more costly. And the Second Amendment, being what it is and designed to give people the ability to defend against tyranny, first of all, but also to protect themselves and things like that. When you start putting price tags on rights, that's not a road I want to see the country go down, because for that single mother, or that family that's just barely making it paycheck to paycheck, when you start putting those kind of requirements, all of a sudden the ability to afford a firearm to protect their household goes downhill. And that's not good. That's not the type of place I want to live, where somebody's choosing between being able to defend themselves or keeping groceries on the table and things like that. So putting a price tag on rights is not good. Otherwise we'll all have to get free speech permits to put stuff on Facebook. I mean, it's a silly proposed idea to begin with, like 99% of them, but that one particularly kind of pisses me off. So just to recap, gun control, who loses? We all do in the long run. Long enough timeline, we're all going to lose. It's not going to be good. So get out there, speak up, do what you need to do to defend your rights, and prepare, because soapbox, ballot box, cartridge box, you be the judge on where we're at on that timeline. So as always, stay safe, keep shooting. I'll see you next time.